So if you know me or anything about me, you know that I'm huge on communication. If you've been following my channel, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know communication is something very, very important in life. And you know that when you master communication, you master all of life. I had to actually formulate like a belief around that before it really became true. But it is the absolute truth. People would say it all the time. Oh, once you learn how to communicate, everything becomes easier. You're able to get into doors that were closed to you before. You're able to open up people in a way that they would have never been open to what you have to share, or your product or your service, or just listening to you as a human being. So that's why today's topic is going to be on listening, because most people are about talking about communication, including myself when I was doing my podcast last year. But we have now elevated into a new form, right? A new form of life, a new form of self. And as we continue to elevate beyond the realms of the past, because the past doesn't exist and nor does the future, and we continue to relish the moment that we currently have today, we find that listening is something that is so underutilized, so uneven heard of, that most people forget that listening is the biggest piece of communication. It's like you haven't even heard of it. But you have. You have. The truth is, you've heard of everything that there is out there. It's just you weren't on the frequency, you weren't on the vibration of understanding what it was, what it had to say to you. What was the message for you, and how could it help you? Because when we're living life and we're living in a survival mode, the only thing we can really think of is, how is this thing going to help me right now? How is this information? How is this person? How is this product? How is this service going to affect my life immediately? Not the version of me in the future who can understand the information, but how is it going to help me now? So I was that person where if you told me 5 years ago, before I started my sales journey, my committed sales journey, I've always been in sales. I just never committed to one particular form or product. I've always kind of bounced around like most salespeople do. That's just what we do. We didn't get a college degree. What do you expect us to do? Of course, we're going to bounce around and try to find something to do, right? But you ask anyone like myself, who's somebody who, loves to sell, loves to talk, loves to communicate. The first thing that we're ever taught is you got to listen more than you speak, right? The second thing is, you got to ask great questions. But what is a question? A question is something that is asked of someone to formulate a response and give it back to you, give you back a response. So I ask you a question and you answer me, but if I'm not listening, the question was for nothing, unless it was just to have you hear yourself talk to yourself, because I wasn't paying attention. You see what I'm saying? But in sales, we get taught you have to listen twice as much as you talk. But how many salespeople out there that you've encountered actually listen to what you have to share about whatever problem that you're actually having and help you solve it? It's almost zero. And the really good ones that you do purchase from, those are the ones who actually got down to what result you were looking for instead of the product that they're selling. Because if you're looking for a result that they can't provide to you, then an honest, trustworthy, upright salesperson would say to you, well, I don't have anything for you. What we do here is this, this, and this, and it does not help you in that way. But I might have somebody in this realm who can help you, right? So you start to kind of lead that person to wherever the result that they're looking for is, not just to buy your product and give you money. Okay? So there's a lot that goes into listening. But when you formulate a great listening skill, it's like a superpower. So the 3 things that you're going to hear come out of my mouth today, and I wrote them down. Actually, there's 5. I added a couple. You'll learn about me, Number 1, do you listen to yourself when you talk? Are you listening to yourself? When I talk, I'm talking to myself. I'm also talking to the other person. But I am listening to the words that I'm saying. I know that sounds crazy. I know it sounds like, duh, of course you are. But really think about it. You're having a conversation. and you're enjoying it and everyone's laughing and having a good time. And then all of a sudden the tension comes. All of a sudden you didn't realize it, but what you said had some effect on someone, or what someone else said had an effect on someone. And now the energy shifts, and things get a little awkward. It's like, what's going on here? Do you realize that you become more attuned to hearing what's going on? Like when those types of tense and energetic shifts happen? Like, so that right there tells you, like, you probably weren't paying as much attention to the exciting conversation that was going on. Like if you're talking, you're talking not to hear yourself talk, you're talking to engage. But as the other situation, when it becomes tense, it's like the minute that switches, your mind starts going a little wild, but your ears get a little bit bigger and you start to hear, ooh, what are they saying? Why are they saying that? And you start to gather information. That's what listening does. It's why it's a superpower. It allows you to gather information you wouldn't have had otherwise. And what is the number one commodity on the planet right now? Data, info, that's it. The more you know, the more you can do with what you know. The less you know, the less you can do with what you know. But you have to know something, and to know something is to listen, right? Not just talk. Because you know what you know. But when I talk, I'm hearing myself talk. That's why you'll hear me stop, pause, go back and fix something I said. Like, I'm listening to my words. I'm not talking to you as an individual. I'm really talking to myself. But you just so happen to be there listening to what I'm saying. But I'm like, when you walk through life with this type of communication, you actually start to formulate and you get down to where people really are. Like, you don't come in as fake or phony. Like, you come in as like, oh, okay, I see what's going on because I've been listening. I've been paying attention. The number one compliment I'd say that I get at work, right, whether a customer purchases from me or not, is they always let my surveyor know that she listened to what I had to say. Whether I came in complaining, came in bitching and moaning, or came in happy and with wanting a specific question answered, she listened to what I had to say. And how do people know you're listening? Based on the actions and the remaining conversation. But I've been in conversations with these people that I'm, and I'm going to keep it kind of sales for generic purposes. But I definitely, when I first got started in sales, I didn't listen to a word these people said. Not a word. Not a word. I didn't hear anything they said, except for the things I wanted to hear. And now we're getting into it. Most people listen for what they want to hear. Most people listen for what they want to hear. 98%, 99%, 99.99998765432 of the people on the planet listen for what they want to hear. And it's not a bad thing. Like when we label things as negative, bad, and all that stuff, we give it power. Not necessary. What we're doing here is just identifying what's taking place, and all that is as we go through life, we must know most people are listening for what they want to hear, not for what you're actually saying. Because there's a filter in the mind that goes on. When I'm talking to you, you think you're hearing me, but you're filtering what I'm saying through what you want to hear. That's why people don't have an attention span anymore. Because now it's just, oh, I don't like the first 3 seconds of this. Tap next. Oh, found something that I want to hear about. Oh, that was cool. Next, right? We're on this next thing. And that, again, not bad. It's okay. It's perfectly fine. Look at the quality, right, though, of your life, the quality of your conversations, the quality of your own in-depth conversations with yourself when you do that, when you live life that way. The quality is shifted. It's less. It's degraded. Because when you're taking a 3-second clip of something and saying it's not for me, now I get it. There's a lot of information. There's so much out there now that you do have to be discerning on what you take in. I get that. But being in the state of just listening for what you want to hear is the quickest way to get nowhere. It's the quickest way to keep creating the same life that you have right now. It's the fastest way to keep getting what you're getting now, the quickest. So if you want to stay on that train track, you'll keep going to the same train station and then wondering, why am I not at another train station? It's because the way that we're taking life is we're only looking for what we want to hear. So this is why listening is such a powerful tool that God has given us. 2 ears and 1 mouth. Yahweh gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. That is for a specific reason. There are no accidents. The life that we choose to live is based off of what we choose to believe. What we choose to believe is based off what we've heard and seen and experienced. But it's also formulated because we chose to say, well, this happened one time, it's going to happen again. I'm going to protect my heart and not even put myself out there again for that to happen to hurt me. And now you've just cut yourself off from a whole nother realm of life just because a bad experience, quote unquote, you labeled it bad, happened in the past. But back to the sales portion, right? Let me look at my notes really quick. 2 ears and 1 mouth. It's a conscious choice to make that you must be present. Like, you have to be present to hear people, to listen to people. You have to be present. Like, you can't be thinking about what's going on outside. You can't be thinking of what you're going to do later on this evening, or what your family member said about you or said to you, or what your cousin is thinking, or what your mom or your dad, your brother, your sister, your cousin, your best friend, your boyfriend, like those people in your mind are taking up the real estate that you could be giving to the person in front of you, who is the only thing that matters right now. Because right now is the only moment we have. Excuse me, this is deep. It's very deep. I know that. I'm aware it's not for everybody yet. I'm aware that it's not popular. I'm aware that it's not linear. Like, I get that, guys. And I apologize. I'm doing my best to keep it as linear as possible. But there's so many subs and all this stuff that when I think of it, I gotta say it sometimes, because I have to just get it out. Because if I don't, I'll forget and I'll be like, damn, I should have said it right. No, I'm getting it out. I'm letting you guys get all of it, because this is just a seed being planted. If you watch this video 4, 5, 17 times, I promise you, you're gonna get something different from it every time. It's because there's little baby niches in there. There's little things that you're not listening for right now, because you're only listening for what's going to help you in the immediate present. But in the future, when you are the person who you're trying to become, when in the future, let's say 5 years away, now let's say you're that person that you wanted to become 5 years from now. Well, let's say this video pops back up. When you listen to it, it won't sound the same, because you've already heard some of that other stuff. You're going to be like, okay, that's that. You're going to hear something totally different, because now it's going to apply to a different stage in your life. You have to apply different tools, different things. So I'm going through these things, and I know you wish it was like a bullet point, and like, or maybe you don't. Maybe that's just my own projection, right? Because that's how I like things to be. Bullet point 1, 2, fucking 3. But it's like, I'm not doing that. So I apologize for those of you who do like things a little bit more linear. You take your own notes, right? Take fucking notes on this stuff. You know, write down what's important. But it is a very, very powerful superpower. It's a conscious choice that we have to make. Hold on, because I put some other stuff. Oh, yeah. So it is a definite conscious choice we have to make. We have to be present. But what? There's so much. I know. It's not supposed to be daunting, right? Like, you take this as little chunks. Take what you can, you know what I mean, and dispose of the rest. But to be present, right? Now we're getting into another sub, which is meditation, right? Paying attention to your thoughts, paying attention to your feelings, paying attention to your emotions. You have to be mindful. Like, you gotta be present with all this shit. You know, you can't be sitting there thinking you're listening to somebody, but you are your thoughts at that point. Because that's what you're identifying with. You are your feelings. Oh, they said something I didn't like. Now my stomach's all in a knot and my heart rate sped up, and all of a sudden I'm angry. Like, or all of a sudden I'm offended. I'm pissed off, or I'm like taken aback. Like, you can get taken aback. That's fine. But just know that you're being taken aback. Like, know that you're getting frustrated. Like, know that. You know what I mean? Or like, know that you're getting excited about something and be able to contain that excitement. Like, this is what I have to do in sales sometimes. I get so fucking stoked for people and like the life-changing things that we can do for them. I get so excited, but I can't share that with them 100%. Like, I have to be present enough in myself, Because here's the thing, if someone's so excited, like, yeah, this is the best thing for you, immediately you're like, bitch, where's the scam? Like, where's the catch, right? So I'm in a position where more excitement actually brings about more doubt for people. So I can't be that damn excited. But I am naturally an freaking excited person. I'm just a happy person. But when I'm in the sales conversations and I know that they know that I know something that they like and I start to talk about it, I gotta keep it low, chill, like it's just walking in the park, not throwing a damn party yet because they haven't signed the deal yet, right? But you have to be present enough to know that. This is what true communication is. You're not just communicating with the outside world. Notice I haven't even talked about really the outside world yet. I asked you, the first thing I said was, do you listen to yourself when you talk? Like, what's your communication with yourself? You know? Because it ain't ever about the outside, ever. It's always about us. What is going on in here? That's what is being reflected all the time. You can't count how many pissed off customers I've turned into money. I can't count how many times people who just didn't care thought that they didn't care. I got them to care. And it's because I listened to what they cared about. And if my product had something that matched it, if I wasn't listening, I wouldn't have got it. But back to when I first started this whole journey with sales, man, I didn't listen to a word. That's what I was saying. I didn't hear a damn thing these people told me. And I was so embarrassed, y'all, to the point my freaking manager, he went on a ride with me. A ride along is what we used to call them. It's a ride along when you basically have somebody come with you on your presentation for the whole 2 hours. And they just sit there and take notes and write down what they think you missed and certain shit like that. The dude, and it's the worst when you get like a good opportunity and there's a ride along. Like someone's riding along with you. Cause it's like, shit, I better sell this thing. Otherwise I'm really screwed. Cause this is like a laydown, you know? But I remember this specific couple with this specific family. They were the most beautiful couple in the world. Beautiful family, just lovely. And what ended up happening was my buddy rode along, my manager, who's a buddy of mine, rode along with me on this particular presentation. And I just butchered it. And I knew I did. I was just nervous about it all. And so he wrote down a few things. He's like, and afterwards, we did our little meeting about what we had just experienced together, why we didn't get the sale, blah, blah, blah. And he was telling me, he said, did you realize that they told you a couple times, like how to sell them? Like, did you realize that they told you that? Like, they told you this, they told you that. Like, and I was wondering why you didn't act on it. And I'm just looking at him like, fuck. I know exactly what you mean because I wasn't listening to them. I was like, they said that? He was like, yeah, man. I'm like, wow, okay. I was just thinking about what I was going to say next, what I was going to do next. I wasn't caring. I wasn't present. I was not present. I was thinking in the future. I was thinking in the past. Oh, shoot, what am I supposed to say when they say this? Trying to pull scripts out of my memory. Like, I just wasn't present. So I know what it feels like, guys. I don't talk about things that I do not experience, that I have not experienced, that I have no connection to. I talk about this stuff in depth. Like, how can someone go into this much depth if they haven't lived through it? You know what I mean? Like, this shit is deep, and it's deeper than you think. But the beauty in it is that a lot of times we don't hear the information, okay? Because of who it's coming from. So this is how listening changes everything. Same topic. We don't hear the information because of who it comes from. If you had a relationship with your father that everything he ever did was demanding of you and forcing, you to be away and do this or I'll slap you. When he says something to you, you're going to listen a little bit differently. If you had a father who was kind and nurturing and always gave you like a loving shoulder to cry on, you're going to listen to that person differently. Like, the closer the people are to you, the more emphasis you place on the things they say to you and about you. So when you're listening to them, and I'm going to bring up, it's not a story, but it's like a memory of how I used to feel. But there were certain things that like my mother would do or say, and it was that the intention was always to share love. Like, and I've learned that so much throughout these last 10 years of my life. My parents' intentions is always to be a loving, like, person, a loving individual. But not everyone reflects that the same way, you know? Like, love comes in many forms. And the sooner we understand that, the better we'll all be. I open up drinks and I don't drink them. I'm just weird like that, you know? It's what alcoholics do when you're not alcoholics anymore. You just open up like 12 drinks and then you have a little sip of this, a little sip of the Canada Dry, a little sip of the Waterloo. But there were times when like my parents were, my mom specifically, she would just say something. I don't know what it would be, but it was like everybody goes through this with their parents when they're teens. Like your parents say something, there's a chemical in your brain, by the way, that when you're going from like 12 to 13, it switches and it shuts down. Like it lowers the amount of attention that you give to your parents and your family and the people who raised you. And it raises the amount of attention that you give to the social life, the environment, and other stuff, because now you're in the next stage of forming your brain. Like you're forming a social brain now, right? Or your social brain is being, formed. So anyway, without going into that, so your mom, your dad, your friends, your enemies, who you care for, who you don't care for, like when different people say different things to you, it affects you differently. But you get a new gain respect for all communication and for all people when you learn how to just listen to what's being shared. Like, period. Just listen to what's being shared. Like you're hearing my voice in flux. So it's making you listen a little bit differently. But then if I were to whisper or speak quieter, you're going to listen differently. What I'm saying is treat it all the same. There is only one listener. Within you is you. You are you. When I raise my voice or I say it in a way that I sound pissed off, like I just did, do you get pissed off with me? Do you feel like, shit, why is she mad? Like, what is happening to you? That's what I'm telling you to monitor. Like pay attention to what's going on in you. Because the more you see, like, oh, it's her, she's talking a certain way, my body is having a reaction. My thoughts are thinking things about her. My brain is thinking thoughts about her and about what could be going on. But I'm the one observing all of that stuff. Oh, that's an interesting thought about what she had to say. Like, that's what I'm saying. Monitor. Like, pay attention to just what is going on. Like, just, I feel like, what was his name? My boy, Shia LaBeouf. Like, just do it. Like, just pay attention. Like, just be present. It's challenging, yes, but do it. There's no other moment but right now. And you're stealing it from yourself every single second that you're not paying attention and being present in this current moment. You see, if I was thinking about what I did yesterday and what I was going to do tomorrow, or even in 30 minutes from now, or even thinking about editing this video like I used to do, like that's why my last videos, my last podcasts, they're not as powerful, like, because I wasn't fully present. I was like thinking, oh, what am I going to say? How am I going to say it? How am I going to edit this? Oh, I got to cut that out. Like, I'm right here. You're right here. That's it. Are you listening? Or did you click off? This video's been going, this podcast's been going for a while. If you're still here, congratulations. Hello, and thank you for being here. I love you. I love you. Stick around. Life just gets better. The more time you spend with me, the more your life improves. Trust me on that. I have testimonies of that, by the way. Very much so. And that's not to brag. It's because I allow God to live through me. And how good is God? overly good. It's the goodest good that you're ever gonna good get. Gooder don't exist. It just don't. It's just God. And I allow God to be fully present in me. Am I perfect? Absolutely not. Do I make mistakes? 100%. But the reality is that I know that this is not all that there is. This physical existence, this is an aspect of creation. The thing that gets me up every day, that breathed life into my lungs, that is the eternal essence that I asked to become one with. I asked for this. I chose this path. I chose it 100%. It chose me, and then I resisted it, and then I chose it because I had no choice. But I did have a choice. I could have chosen to continue to resist. I could have chosen to continue to drink and smoke and party and frolic and not care, be angry, blame. Oh, I had a lot of anger. It's so amazing. Like, oh my God, I'm so grateful to God. God has it's not that anger is gone. It's just I've chosen happiness. Anger is still present and it's valued. Like, anger is a valuable thing. It is very valuable. It's just not what I choose to experience anymore. And I share these things I only share these things so that people really, really understand that, like, you don't have to change. You just have to alter your perspective. Like, you don't have to change who you are because you already are all that you're ever going to be. You just need to alter your perspective, and listening helps to do that. Let's get back to the respect that you gain for all communication and people when you actually take the time to not give a crap who's sharing the information. Like, if Donald Trump got on stage right now, 50-50. 50% of the people were hoorah, hoorah. 50% of the people, boo. But if he said one line of truth, the problem is those same 50% of boos would boo the truth as well. And that's what I mean. But in the opposite case, if you were to tell a lie, and then the same thing, the 50% of hoorahs, they would hoorah the lie. You see what I'm saying? Like, who the information's coming from does make a difference in how you perceive the information. And it should. I understand why. I get it. Like, you wouldn't want to take, like, right off the bat, if you had two choices, let me take advice from someone who's earned $100,000 in their life or someone who hasn't. Like, I think I'm going to take advice from the person who's done it. You know, like, of course that makes sense. But the truth is the truth, and the truth can be shared anywhere. You're always entertaining angels and unaware of it, right? You're always entertaining the truth. You're just unaware of it because you're not vibrating on a level of truth, right? Because you're too in your own mind and your own ego. And I get it. I was there too. I understand. And when I say you, like, and you feel that, yes, that's because something within you is recognizing that, okay, something's being brought up. You know, like, something about me that I don't like about myself is being brought up. That's an opportunity. That is a blessing. You have to see these gut feelings of, like, uncomfortability when someone's giving you, like, just straightforward, honest truth, raw. See that and seize that opportunity. That's what I did, because a lot of people on YouTube who I listened to throughout they were saying very, very similar stuff, right? They were saying very similar things. And I would feel that gut, like, wrench. It's like, damn, that's me, you know, like, yeah. But at some point that I took a perspective, I had to take a perspective of loving the criticism and, like, being open and happy to get criticism. Like, okay, thank you, because now I know where to go. Now I know how to change my perspective on this thing. Like, now I know where I'm going. Okay, I didn't see the road before. Now I see the road. I just realized that I'm not on the road. So how do I get on it? But people don't like to face that because it's too scary in your mind, right? But you get a new respect for all communication and people. That gives you an opportunity to connect and communicate with everybody. It don't matter where they came from, how long they were there. None of that stuff matters. right? Once you get to a place where you can communicate with all people, you're good. There was an individual who I spoke with recently who thanked me for the patience, the kindness, and the love that I shared with them while they shared with me something pretty hard for them to share. Like, it was actually really tough. But I appreciate the fact that they appreciate it, because I didn't realize that it was to be appreciated, right? Until they said that. I was like, oh shit, I didn't, like, in the past, I see how, yeah, like, I wouldn't have been that way. But I am now, because I've chosen to like listen to people, and I've chosen to be open, because I'm in sales, to re-explaining, to reconnecting dots for people. Like, you can connect the dots for someone and then it just falls away. It's like, damn it, they had it and then they lost it. So let me go back. Okay, remember when I said this and this and this? Great. Okay, let's regroup that back into what we're talking about here. Oh, I get it now. Okay, great. Right? So it's like the way that communication works is it's not always linear. Like, it's like a roller coaster. It goes to the left, to the right. It just does its own thing. But the more patience you have, my God, I got kudos even last week. I just remembered from a customer. And then I went to lunch with them, man. I didn't take a picture with them, but I will one day. I will. Beautiful British woman and this other gentleman walk in. He's just so sweet. They're 88 and 86. Oh my God, the sweetest freaking people. And when I brought in my finance partner to go over more details of the numbers that we were presenting, my finance partner gets up after about 5 minutes and it's like, okay, you guys, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Like, done. Couldn't do it. I had already been with them for an hour and like 10 minutes. When I went in there, he looked at me with like wide eyes, just like, you're amazing. And that's how he talks. I said, why? Thank you, but why? He was like, I don't know how you spent all that time with them. He was like, and I remember them from before. He had already actually had a presentation with them like 2 years ago, and he remembered them. But he's like, and I couldn't do it. Like, I just don't have the patience. And I ended up going to lunch with I spent like 4 hours total with these people. Was it easy? Not all of it, because when you're a fast talker, like when you talk fast, when your brain operates fast and you're dealing with folks who don't operate that way, you got to slow your whole roll. And wow, does it take more effort to pump the brakes than to push the gas sometimes, right? But that was a cool experience, and that's because of my ability to listen, guys. And it expresses things about yourself exposes things about yourself that you may have missed, like what I just said. What did I just say? When I went to the angry and the soft, right? When I just did that example, it exposed you to how you feel about when those things happen. It exposed you to how you might react, how you are reacting to every time that situation occurs. And it gives you a chance to choose, is that what I still want to do or not? So let's recap. First thing, do you listen to yourself when you talk? If not, I suggest you begin now, especially when you pray. By the way, when you pray and you listen to yourself talking while you're praying, it's going, I say double, but it's probably more like it's an infinite multiplication of what you're saying. It's an infinite multiplication, because when you're praying to something outside yourself, you are giving your energy to something outside yourself. Now, I know that you've gotten a lot of prayers answered, and that's because your inner self's always listening. Okay? It's not because you got on your knees and you prayed and looked up in the sky and was like, God, I know you're up there, outside of me. That's not why. It's because your inner self was listening to you, and you had such a strong subconscious belief pattern going that it had no choice but to come true. But this will help you do it faster and more powerful, is if you listen to yourself while you pray. Listen to yourself as if you're praying to yourself. Don't pray to yourself, but listen to it as if you are praying to yourself, and watch how much more powerful you feel. Woo! You should probably do it right after this just to get that initial like, oh, I see what she means. Like, oh, I'm going to do this every time. I shared this with one woman. She was begging and pleading, God, I know when you're done with all the people in Africa and all the starving children, and when you're done with all the bomb threats and all this shit, like then you have time for me. And wherever you are out there, Lord, I just want you to know that I'm here and I still love you and I'm waiting on you. And I said, girl, we're done. That's over. I said, that's the last time you ever prayed like that. I asked her, when did you pray like that last? She's like, oh, just this morning. I said, well, say farewell, because this is the last time you ever do that. And we went, another story. But believe it or not, she has come back to me and said, wow, what you told me was actually true. When I tell y'all, this is in a sales position. She had 0 sales when I walked into that building for like 20 days. Once we did a couple of different practices and I put her on game with Reverend Ike, by the way, her sales, she almost won the month the next month. And it's been 3 months now and she's still kept that trajectory. But it's because she was able to multiply what she was manifesting. Like, we're all manifesting, guys. Like, we're already doing it. We're already currently in a manifestation. Like, we can't help but manifest. But you're manifesting what you believe. That's why you don't have to change anything. You just have to change your perception. That should take the fucking weight off of everybody's shoulders. Like, everyone's like, I don't want to change. I know you don't want to change. I know. There's only like 10% of us in the world who actually like are looking to change ourselves. And I'm not discounting you for not wanting to. It's all valid. Freaking A, stay you. Like, whatever you want to do. But if you want a different life, you don't have to change anything about yourself. You just have to change your perspective about yourself. That's it. And everything else will change right behind it. It will just follow right along. Oh, this is who I am now. Oh, those people, those weren't really friends. Oh, that wasn't really what I thought, what I wanted. It was just something I thought. Okay. I guess this is who we are now. Yeah, like life will fucking follow you because you are life. Go out and be great today, baby. This is Mind is Matter. Season 3, episode 1. We're about to turn up the world, baby. And you already know. It's already happened. I love you. Mind is Matter. Keep in mind that direct sunlight is still alive and well. As the sun shines every single day, it just gets brighter and brighter and brighter. Remember to be the sun and never its rays. And mind is matter. And I'll see you on the next video. See you on the next podcast. To my people, real quick, this is a quick announcement. Hop off if you're not a diehard, but to my diehard folks, my diehard, like Mind is Matter, y'all have no idea. Wow, I sound like Oprah or something, but y'all have no idea how much your support, she's amplifying it. She's amplifying what I'm saying. You hear that? There's nothing to bark at. She's barking up in the air. So she's amplifying what I'm saying. This is my little partner. You guys have no idea how much it is accepted and absorbed and just so it is very, I hate to use the word powerful, but I can feel your energy. My diehards, I love you so much. Not everybody's like us yet. Thank you. Onyx says thank you. Huh. Let him get a look at that belly. Oh, yeah. Mind is matter. Thank you.